to say how absolutely delighted I am today to see, for instance, Mike Jenkins, one of our much-loved doctors, whom so many people ask me about, and now I can say I've seen him again, and that he's fine. And also to see Brian here in front of me, whom I recommend all the time, whom I've known 30 years. I remember when Brian was a young houseman, and now I look at it now. Now, one of the things I want first to talk about is our hospital. I don't think that we show enough pride in our hospital. I don't think we square our shoulders enough and tell people that this place was built in 1849 by Dr. Quinn. And I have a lovely story about a member of staff where I live who came to see me to tell me that her great-great-great-grandmother had a pub here, and that it had to be sold and pulled down for Dr. Quinn to build this pub. And that this was where the I was going to say balmy, but the crazy Charles III and Queen Charlotte, that they were his patients. And among his patients, and this you ought to be swanking about, was Charles Dickens and Thackeray, who used to come into this hospital to see Dr. Quinn, and probably afterwards, if it was open then, used to go to the Queen's larder on the corner for their glass of mead. However, you know there's a pub on the corner called the Queen's Larder, yes. And it really was Queen Charlotte's larder. And that all these lovely stories about our hospital, trot them out, talk to people in order to get an opening into how wonderful this hospital was and still is. So now, one of our consultants said to me one day, "You know, you're the only person who talks to anybody." I thought, God, what a reputation. And he said, but he said, patients come in to me and tell me you've been talking to them. And he said, today, this day he told me, today a lady came in and said, I came to this hospital, no one's been able to help me, I don't see any reason why you can. And she said, I met this rather elderly lady outside, and she said, now I know. Of course I'm going to get better. Of course you're going to do it. I know that now. The one meeting I remember, or the last one Brian did, on the very day that we opened the clinic, you spoke with your friend Mr. Brown, I think his name was. And it was hilarious, if I remember. We never stopped laughing. We took Brian for a public meeting. Little did we know that on that very day, Bromley was going to open a homeopathic clinic in the NHS. When they rang me up and said, would you come to see us? It was in Bromley Health in those days. Will you come to see us and bring a doctor? Well, I rang Peter Fisher, of course, but he was going to America. So we rang David Ratsey, who was BMA in those days. And David Ratsey came, and I sat quietly while David talked to them and said, I will be the consultant if you will give them the clinic. And they gave us the clinic. I tell you, no one was more surprised than we were, that we finally had the first NHS outpatient clinic in England. I was so proud of it, and that is my crowning achievement. All the other things meant nothing in my life, but to have achieved an NHS homeopathic clinic outside of these hospitals, I thought was absolutely something. And it ran for 14 years, and it was the best kept secret in Bromley. Not a mention. And I kept on, but oh no. And one or two of our doctors said to me, don't rock the boat. How now I wish I'd rocked that boat. I wish I hadn't listened to anybody. I wish I'd come out loud and clear and said you have a homeopathic clinic in the NHS. I'm sure it would have been absolutely packed out. I've been to Cuba a couple of times, and Cuba has the finest health service in the world, with a homeopath in every polyclinic. And when they send out brigades of doctors into countries in need, or when there's been an earthquake or something, they say the homeopaths are better received because it's nearer to what people understand in these countries. So, and in Cuba they told me, here they told me I'll live to 106. In Cuba they said, oh no, play your cards right, you'll live to 120. So, can you imagine?
20 years, Jane.
Yes, I don't think, I don't want to go, but on the other hand, 120. Finally, I want to say, Sato didn't mention the question of ambassadors. I believe that we are going to train people to act as ambassadors, and when people are turned down for treatment, go with them. I must tell you that here in the audience is my friend Jackie. But if Jackie hadn't known about this, she went to her GP because she got arthritis in her feet. And she went to her GP and said, may I have a referral back to the Royal London Royal London Hospital of Integrated Medicine? And the GP said, no, can't refer you there. And to her GP's surprise, she said, oh, well, send me to the panel. Let me go before the panel and tell them my case and let them decide. I think the GP nearly fell off her chair. She didn't think anyone would know. So our job is to make people know that you can fight back. If they say no, then say, I will go before whatever this panel is. You may wait to go before it, but by that time I hope there will be ambassadors to go with you who will fight the case for you. I mean, the case is absolutely perfect. Our remedies cost next to nothing. Our people won't be going every 2 minutes to the GP, and they'll guarantee they'll get better. I mean, with an absolutely unalterable case, all we've got to do is know how to put it. I just want to say to you, know your rights and fight for them, and above all, know your hospital and tell them about it. We've nothing to be ashamed of and everything to be proud of. We've got things to offer that no one else has been able to, and we've a past that no one else has. So trot it out, tell them all about it, and in the end, maybe you'll get them. Well, I mean, I do it all the time. I talk about homeopathy to everybody who's got anything wrong with them, and some I don't win, but most of them, after a little while, they get back to me and say, what was that you thought I could, you know, and not for me, you must go and see. And then I give them the name of a couple of our doctors that I think will see them. So that's me.
Well done, Jane.
Thank you. Yeah.